What's the first thing that comes to your mind when considering a war? You probably thought about a political or a territorial disagreement as a reason to unleash this conflict. But did you ponder fresh water as one? Well, most of the earth comprises water, from which 97% is salt water, but less than 1% is available and is distributed among underground aquifers, rivers, lakes, ground ice, and permafrost. Still, we're using more water so quickly that we're not allowing it to be replenished again on time. Hence, we will face more extreme water shortages over the following decades. If we run out of fresh water, everyone will want to fight to keep the last reserves at all costs. My name is Marcela Zuleta, I'm 16 years old, and I'm from Quito, Ecuador. Today, I'm going to talk about the causes of the shortages and my proposals as preventive solutions to this issue. It's essential to know what fresh water is used for. 3.6% of fresh water is intended for our consumption, 4.4% is designed for industries, and 92% is used in agriculture. To minimize the consumption of fresh water in the world, we must start doing our bit by taking responsibility and using it consciously. First, we must begin to reduce the time spent in the shower. The ideal time for this activity is 5 to 10 minutes. We must also turn off the water tap when we're not using it. Likewise, we can use a dishwasher instead of washing dishes by hand to not waste so much water. On the other hand, we should not waste food, since a third of the food that leaves farms is wasted. The bad thing is that large amounts of fresh water had to be used for this food to grow appropriately in these places. That's why we can always use it as a fertilizer for our plants or donate it to food banks. Following these guidelines, I propose that governments invest in programs that have trained people to visit schools, colleges, universities, and workplaces to give talks on appropriate water use. In addition, they can invest in advertising so that this good practice can make people reflect and begin to take better care of this valuable resource. As I mentioned, the most significant percentage of fresh water goes to agriculture. Although cutting off the water supply to this field is impossible, new irrigation systems can be implemented to make the most of the fresh water used so that more plants can grow without using high amounts of water. For this reason, I propose that the governments of each country focus on making investments that finance projects that aim to develop new methods and technologies to optimize the water used in agriculture, and eventually present other proposals to meet the needs of this sector. The UN hopes that by 2050 we'll have learned new technologies like the widespread adoption of advanced agrotechnology and highly efficient irrigation techniques that will ease the strain on agriculture. There is also a significant factor that affects fresh water accessibility worldwide. I'm talking about the climate change. Due to this phenomenon, forest fires and extreme droughts leave many people vulnerable. Since in excessively arid places, it does not rain due to the lack of vegetation, and there are no appropriate conditions for fresh water sources. Because of temperature changes, there can also be flooding, which spoils crops and impairs water health. UNICEF states that when disasters hit, they can destroy or contaminate entire water supplies, increasing the risk of diseases like cholera and typhoid, to which children are especially vulnerable. Consequently, raising awareness about the planet's pollution through publicity campaigns and commercials is necessary to prevent this phenomenon from escalating. As a final point, it is essential to encourage the participation of diplomacy to avoid a catastrophe in the world if fresh water sources run out. Therefore, I propose that countries with underground freshwater reserves commit to not completely emptying them as a response to a possible case of an extreme lack of water, much less take advantage of such a problematic situation to profit from it by raising the price of their water for the countries that will need it. In June 2015, NASA announced that the water table was dropping worldwide. Of Earth's 37 largest underground aquifers, 21 have passed their sustainability tipping point. Therefore, agreements must be reached to protect these freshwater reserves and ensure their fair and legal distribution if necessary. It is not wise to start a war over a cause that we should all come together to change. We must develop and practice a sense of responsibility to preserve our most precious source of life.